Hi guys, welcome back to Miscellaneous Pleasures. I'm back with the rewatch reaction for Arrow Season 1 Episode 2. Uh, it was really fun watching Arrow back. I think the last time I watched Season 1 of Arrow was probably. I'm not sure exactly when I did because now and again you see these YouTube clips, right, of you know either like Felicity scenes or basically fight scenes of Arrow, or even like John Barrowman, uh, Malcolm Merlin, the guy who plays the Dark Archer. Like his scenes, couple of times I watched here and there on YouTube. So I think I watched the season one probably 2 years ago, and not even fully, like just like episodes here and there. Like I remember watching season episode 9, I think it was, where it's basically Dark Archer versus the Green Arrow. I remember watching the episode before the finale, the penultimate episode, basically, where it's basically Malcolm versus the Arrow, where basically Malcolm comes out as a Dark Archer to basically Oliver Queen and beats him up. And even like the episode where Moira shoots Oliver, yeah, that episode is also fantastic. So all in all, I feel like, or actually not even that. I think it was the episode after that, right, where like he questions Moira about, not he, but Diggle questions Moira acting as the Green Arrow. Yeah, so I have watched a few episodes here and there, but this sort of a like rewatch setup where this basically gives the viewers, or basically you guys, the opportunity to comment about your favorite scenes or moments from that episode, stuff like that. So yeah, I am looking forward to this. So here we go, effectively, because I don't know what else to talk about. I mean, it's Arrow, it's been there for 8 years. It's actually been there for a year after the 8 years the season's aired. So let's just get into it. This is going to be a show where I am going to pause here and there a lot, more than I do in my other reactions, simply because there is so much to talk about. And I don't really have to talk before and after the episode, to summarize stuff, because I already know what's going to happen. So I'm going to do that in the middle of the episode after, if I see something interesting, I'm going to talk about it. So please bear with me if you're not a fan of that. That's all I have to say. Let's begin the reaction. Before I do, I have to remember that, yeah, I have to do this. I almost forgot. So yeah, for the third time, here we go.
The day I went missing was the day I died. 5 years in hell forged me into
I love this opening.
I used to honor a vow.
I love these sort of openings. Like, I don't know, a lot of shows that do this. Only the Arrow one do it, right? But especially I love the Arrow and even the Flash one sometimes.
And that it was up to me to save it and right his.
It has been a bit boring, to be fair, in the recent years, but the first 2 years was fantastic for the Flash.
I have to be someone else. I have to be something else.
There is this guy, right? I'm gonna tell you. There's this guy that is there inside this room, basically, who has this impeccable timing that I don't know if this was this episode or it was some other episode, where he just like, as we speak, here comes Oliver Queen, and he really does that. Yeah, I don't think it is this episode where that thing happens, the impeccable timing I was talking about. This is so difficult to do. I've tried, right? I mean, not like this big a rope or this sort of a setup, but I have tried, and it's virtually impossible for a person like me.
So it's no surprise his name is on my father's list.
To think that this guy actually did these things, the
Laurel thinks she's the only one.
salmon ladder and this thing, stuff like that.
She's wrong.
I'm pretty sure most of the actors nowadays do that, because they have to remain in shape and stuff. So it's really appreciable. This I do like this version of Oliver Queen more than any of the other versions. Like this brutal Ollie basically. Even season 2 he was pretty good. I felt season 3 and 4 it was like transitioning into that good guy sort of thing. Where I was like, don't be that. And obviously we had a part of it back in season 5. And season 5 was in general fantastic. So I forgot who this guy's name. Was it like Paul? Is he like Paul or something? And this guy is absolutely fantastic. Like Detective Lance season 1, season 2, that sort of a transition from hating the Arrow to liking the Arrow, and then back to hating the Arrow. And between all of these he's like this drunk person. He had that sort of an issues. Plus, this guy is one of the most affected guys by the external environment of the people in his life. Like he basically had both his daughters die and come back to life, and then die and come back to life again, and stuff like that.
As you can see, Oliver, we've modernized quite a bit.
So
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes, I am.
So yeah, Detective Lance is one of the most underappreciated characters, I feel like.
That's why you enjoyed coming.
Am I wrong in thinking that people are like
5
too
years ago, your irresponsibility was something
neglecting of the fact that he was away for 5 years?
It is a lot less so now.
And I say this from the perspective of the outside people, right, who don't know that he actually did not spend the 5 years on the island. But from the perspective of the people who do not know that, who have no idea about those 5 years, it's sort of like, give him a break.
Driver will be here in a minute.
Okay.
I spent the first 27 years of my life in Starling City, the next 5 in Afghanistan. You want to know what I learned?
There's nothing like home, no.
There's no place like home.
No, just the opposite.
Home is a battlefield.
Back home, they're all trying to get you. Get you to open up, be somebody you're not sure you are anymore. Or I could be wrong. Maybe after 5 years alone, you're not as messed up in the head as you have every right to be.
Exactly, this is what I'm talking about. Like, Diggle is being considerate here, and this is one of the reasons I actually like Diggle from the beginning.
They want her to get this. Well, let's hope it doesn't come.
And it won't.
I paused for a different reason. I just wanted to freeze
Their faces because they're going with you everywhere you go. No argument.
her face, the person in the middle. Like, I don't actually remember why she went out of the show or how they wrote her off. Like, I think she got a job offer somewhere else, and I think it sort of also coincided with, I think, Thea working here or somebody else working here or something like that. So yeah, like, that was one of my issues with the Flash and the Arrow, right? In all, or for all purposes, in season 1 Laurel Lance was the female protagonist. I mean, of course we have Felicity, but Felicity wasn't written to be one in the first place, and of course because of Emily Bett Rickards, she basically stole the show and she was given the part, right? The thing that I don't understand is, if you take Laurel Land and if you take Iris West, or Iris West Allen, whatever, they don't really have friends outside of, especially in the first two seasons. I mean, if you look at Iris West, she was going to that reporting area. I forgot what the place was. Basically, wherever she was working, and she was working like 2-3 places. Even she was working in that coffee shop. We never really saw any of her friend circle, and I do get that because the show is called The Flash and not Iris West, so we won't really see things about her. Similarly, in this show, I feel like she had a friend, right? I mean, Laurel Lance has a friend, and that friend who was given enough character or enough, lines in the show, effectively, if you want to put it that way, to make her feel like a character. I mean, if you talk of season 1 characters, this person in the middle would be one of them. The problem I have is, because she left, I felt like after she left, Laurel Lance basically had no friends in the show. Everybody concerned with Laurel Lance was either Oliver's friends or Oliver himself, or of course Laurel Lance's family. That's it. I mean, yeah, you could consider that Tommy was a friend, but Tommy died in season 1, and I always felt that Tommy was Oliver's friend and he was Laurel's lover, if you want to call it that. And yeah, that's one of the issues that I have with both of these shows, and in a way I think Supergirl is fine in that regard because Kara basically had Wen and even Cat Grant, and she had obviously Jimmy Olsen, and this person Alex basically, even though she did not really have any friends to speak of, but she did have people like this guy John Jones. I forgot his name. I forgot his face. Like the person whose face he took, I forgot that guy's name. So I do remember John Jones. I'll just go with it. So for Alex there was John Jones, and for Kara there was obviously Jimmy Olsen, Wen, and even Cat Grant to an extent. And by the time season 2 came up, there was obviously Lena Luthor, and Alex got that Sawyer. I forgot her name. Her basically. And even if you think of Lena Luthor, I mean the first season it was basically Kara and her, and them basically getting to know each other. And season 3 sort of introduced that Audit Annabelle character, I forgot her name in the show, who was Rain basically. And in season 5 they have again introduced another of her friends from her past, even though it has already been done in the previous seasons. But they have created another friend from the past, and she's the person who is leading that VR tech company. I forgot everybody's names because I haven't watched Supergirl in a long time, and currently I can't watch it in India because the one place it was coming, it is not coming anymore. So I haven't been like catching up on. I mean, I have finished season 5, but I don't know, like I haven't really watched the episodes recently, so I completely forgot everybody's names. And if you think about it, even Legends, I mean Legends is not a show to have friends, right? Because they're all basically contained in the Wave Rider, in a time machine basically. But even there you can find like people interacting with each other. All sorts of permutation combinations have been working pretty fine there, and they have explored them. But I feel like for a person who was supposed to be a protagonist, who then basically was shifted into the level 2 characters of the show, I feel like she doesn't have any friends, and that's the same problem I have with Iris West. I mean, Caitlin, Cisco, any of the Wells is effectively Barry's friends or Barry's people. The only people associated with Iris in the 1 degree associations are Barry and Joe West, and we never really see anybody up until this person came up, the Cisco's girlfriend. She's also a reporter, right? But even then I never really felt like they were friends, I just felt like she was introduced to be Cisco's partner, and then eventually because Cisco basically introduced her to the team, and she was also interested in reporting and stuff, so she basically joined hands with Iris. So yeah, that's one of my concerns with these shows, is that they don't really have any friends, and I would have actually liked to see her in the first two seasons have some friends, or at least keep this character, the character in the middle. I don't remember her name, but keep her in the show at least for 2-3 seasons, unless of course the real life person who plays the character had some issue with the network and left. And in that case, I feel like there should have been some other way to introduce a character to be her friend. And obviously they had that Nisal Gul and Laurel had like few episodes. They were basically bonding over Sarah's death, and she had like a boxer friend. When I say boxer friend, I mean she was learning boxing from a guy. Who else? Yeah, I can't think of anybody else. So yeah, that's one of my issues with the show basically. In an alternate world, I would love to see somebody else apart from Diggle be a part of his life and know his secrets. And even like Diggle and Felicity don't really know him, right? I mean, they only know him after like they basically meet or something like that. But people like Laurel or Tommy or Thea or even his mother, for instance, they are people that basically saw him grow up effectively and know him for like 15 years, 20 years, stuff like that. In an alternate universe or an alternate sort of storyline, I would love to see, people like her, like Thea basically knowing everything about what happened to Oliver from the beginning, and see if interesting storylines could be made basically from that. Yeah, that would be fun. Like, I've always wondered, because as I said in the first episode reaction, I do like them together. I mean, Laurel and I feel like that would have felt more if they were going to be together than maybe Laurel Lance, but yeah, I don't know. That feels too mainstream a choice. Maybe Tommy, because Tommy died in season 1, right? That sucked.
There are 2 cop cars outside.
I mean, for a character who was predominantly a level 2 character in season 1.
My sister took what she pointed out to
So,
me that
I don't know.
be distant.
Maybe or Tommy. That would have been really fun too. And to be fair, her mother knew, didn't she? Like, she effectively saw her go,
I'm sorry.
and she did not do anything about it. That's one of the things that I could not get my head around. Like, what the hell?
Never be enough.
Like, there are situations where parents have to intervene. That was one of those situations, and that was extremely disappointing character storyline.
Hey, come on.
And obviously nobody shoots at shoots them at all. That was rubbish. But yeah, that's fine. I'm not watching a Christopher Nolan movie to have a perfection or something like that. Big.
Are you hurt?
No.
Are you hurt?
No. No.
This is why it's a good idea to have a bodyguard.
Yeah, that is a good throw, man. And before Diggle knew that Oliver was Arrow, the first 3 episodes, right? So their discussions were really good. I remember, this will obviously come up towards the end of this episode.
They were both dead in the squad car.
like he's like, I appreciate how perceptible you are or something like that. That I think comes in the next episode. This episode also he says something else.
Besides, I think it should be you. Not banking. The knife.
The knife. I got lucky.
That was a kitchen knife. It wasn't even weighted properly. It was built for accuracy across a 10-foot room.
Exactly. I got lucky.
I'm not the kind of man you want to take for a fool, Mr. Queen. You understand me?
Yes.
I think I'm just beginning to understand the kind of man you are.
Oh, these scenes are like so good. I can't stop the smile on my face.
Very tired. So,
Like these scenes are just perfect, man. Like season 1 and 2 were so fucking good, unbelievably good. Like if Arrow basically comes out now, I think it's a worldwide sensation.
chance to confess.
I don't think it was that much of a sensation
But he
because
chose
by the
to
time
honor someone I care about instead.
all these TV shows and so these sort of things got popular,
He's still
all of these,
face
like,
justice.
I feel like
Just be a different
by that time Arrow had already degraded to a certain normalcy. These two seasons, the first two seasons are just beyond me, man. Wow. Absolutely fantastic.
Evidence of the smuggling operation.
I'm not sure how good some of these fight scenes are. Like, I remember in season 5, it was absolutely fantastic. This guy, I forgot his name, the stuntman or the director of the show or something like that, whose episodes used to be action-packed fantastic. I forgot his name.
I want the truth about Victor Ascenti!
I can't. The Triad will kill me.
The Triad's not your concern right now.
All right. It wasn't me that killed him. It was the Triad.
Acting on whose instructions?
All right. It was mine, all right. He said he was going to testify against me.
You'll bet. Shh.
This was a pretty good fight scene. I mean, not pretty good, but alright. For a beginning, it was fine. Like, these people had like 3 or 4 confrontations easily. Even in the flashbacks, they had like 2, I think. And even in like season 8, she was there, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, she was one of those characters that was there from season 1 to season 8, like coming up now and then.
You twitch, and you're dead.
And I think even the music in these first 2 seasons was just top notch, absolute top notch.
Go down. Hands up.
And it's actually a fun thing where he doesn't realize that this paper actually has ink in it. I always felt that that invisible ink sort of thing that in movies that they have, this show actually used it pretty well. And it came up in like the future seasons too, where the League was concerned. They used to have these manuscripts and stuff, and they used to be like heat sensors and stuff like that. So that's something that I sort of felt that this show did well. Yeah, I don't remember which is the episode where Barrowman gets introduced. I mean, this is where I think we see, like, we know that there's somebody else also.
Well, you saw for yourself. My son knows nothing. Robert didn't tell him anything that could hurt us. He has no idea that the yacht was sabotaged.
And the camera work in the flashback scenes is just shit. What the hell is this? Are you shooting from your phone, mate? I mean, it's like as if I am shooting with this camera that I have in front of me. Anyways, yeah, so that was the second episode of season 1 rewatch for Arrow. Yeah, that was a good episode. I mean, I like all the episodes in season 1 and 2. I won't say equally, but I do like all of them simply because, every one of them had new things to look out for. And all these episodes were really fun. Like, I have always said that when it was just Oliver, Felicity and Diggle, it was fantastic. And I feel like the more characters you added, like Roy, I mean, even Roy was good, but the problem is when you keep adding new people to the show, you have to give like sufficient airtime, storylines, things to do in the show effectively. And what that makes is you basically create this big story which has a lot of quantity but not a lot of quality. And that's probably one of the issues with season 4 or even season 6 and 7. 7 was, in my opinion, consistently average. I felt like when I was watching the first few episodes, when he was in jail, most of them were like 7.5 out of 10s. And what happens generally, even in these sort of season 1, 2, is that, or even 5, it's that you have consistently normal episodes like 7.5, 7.5, 7.5, 7.5, and then you have those 9 out of 10 episodes towards like the mid-season finale, and then you come back with all again 7.5, 7.5, maybe a bad episode now and then, but then you finish strong. I felt that season 7 was just consistently 7, 7.5, and yeah. So I don't know what else to say. That's all for this reaction. I'll be uploading this on 4th November, and hopefully it will be unblocked by 4th November, going by the previous experience that I have where it was unblocked pretty soon. And I'll be uploading Dark season 1 episode 2 on 3rd, but you will be able to see it probably on 7th or something like that. The same for Queen's Gambit. Queen's Gambit is something I'm going to upload season 1 episode 2 on 4th, and you'll probably be able to see it on 8th or 9th, something like that. I'll be uploading United Manchester United versus Istanbul Başakşehir preview on 3rd, and I'm going to be back tomorrow. Not tomorrow, I mean I'm going to be back here tomorrow with United's game watch along sort of thing, which will be uploaded on 5th. So all of these content are coming up. So if you're watching my channel for the first time, please do stay with the channel, subscribe so that you get notified for the, I think there's a bell icon which you can use. I don't know how good that is. I don't know if it gives you notifications good enough, but stay with the channel and share the content so that a lot of others can also view this. Let it be Arrow or Dark or Stranger Things or Manchester United stuff or even Football Manager sort of videos. So yeah, that's all for this reaction. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good evening, night, morning, afternoon, whenever you're watching. Bye.